My first experience when I took the workshop, it was very moving. Here I was with this group of people that I didn't know, and we learned about violence, and I think we discovered that violence was more than what you normally think violence is. And together, I don't know, we shared a lot, and we got to know people, and I think a lot of perceptions about people changed, and it was a very powerful experience for me.
Killing.
Racism.
So this group thinks of violence as overstepping boundaries, unnecessary force, poverty, talking, disagreement, conflict and physical action, institutionalism, jealousy, discrimination, hurting.
I chose guns because if a person shoots somebody, then their peoples come back and they be all angry and stuff and all. They start arguing and stuff, and then they just get mad and stuff, and they just start shooting that, come back for the person that shot that person, and that's what leads to violence.
What we're attempting to do is to allow an opportunity for people to explore within themselves alternatives to solving problems, solving situations, and to hopefully, through a lot of the different exercises that we do, hopefully allow an opportunity for people to open up for the possibility of change.
All right, we're going to be doing something called Sharing on Violence, and at this point, I want everyone to know that each one of your stories that you're going to share, take about 2 to 3 minutes to share a story of a time when you either experienced violence or you saw something violent happen, and you're just going to share that with the groups.
And somebody was almost getting raped, so I ran and called 911 and told them that somebody was in the back of my alleyway getting raped. And they said, they came and they caught the man that got raped, but he's still in jail though, because he killed her.
He killed her?
Yeah.
So this was happening when you and your sister were walking through the alley?
Me and my older sister.
Wow, that's scary.
You're really a hero. I can't help but jump in because he could have done that to so many other people.
First he cut on her neck, and then he started physically touching her and stuff, and then he beat her to death with a brick.
Wow. Thank God you called the police so that now he's not doing that to somebody else.
He got life.
Oh, right. You know what? He got lost because of you. Oh, God. It's making me cry. Sorry.
Yeah.
You are a hero.
Right thing to go. That's great.
Because, you know, it took a lot of bravery for you to convict him, too.
I was crying. I didn't know what to do.
Oh, I bet.
I was saying, help. So I was like, my sister was like, Nicole, you hear that? Then I stopped. And I was like, oh, I hear it now. So I ran back there. My mom wasn't home, wasn't nobody home, so I just ran in the house, locked my door, and called 911.
So I never had the guts to bring him to court. And since then, come to find out years later, talking to friends, it happened to like 30 people
From the same
town. Yeah. So, I mean, what you did was to convict him. I didn't have the strength or support to convict him because, I don't know, I didn't want my name in all the papers. I didn't want, I don't know. So, you're my hero. That's for sure.
And all of the other people, they didn't say anything?
No, no one spoke up.
I'm glad that you did what you did, to call the police and, to do the things that you need to do. It's really frightening sometimes when we're confronted with violence, what do we do? Again, I'd like to hear from the group because I'd like to write down what did you hear Nice Nicole say? What did she do when the situation was happening?
Yes. Well, one of the things that she didn't do, she didn't ignore someone cry for help. She couldn't prevent this person from doing what he did, but she certainly didn't ignore it. She went and she tried to get some help. So she didn't ignore. She took action. She saw something going on, and she called for the proper authorities to come.
This is an exercise in cooperation. To get any job done with a group of people, we need to cooperate with one another. So these are tinker toys. I'm sure everyone at some time in their life played with tinker toys. All right, well, what did anybody learn about cooperation doing this exercise?
It gave me a real appreciation for what goes on behind the scenes because, you know, you might have thought that people just sat down and started working together, but it would have been impossible to do that if beforehand they hadn't gotten together to sit down and plan. And very often we wonder where people get all the power they have to do the things that they do. And very often it comes because they had a chance earlier to sit down and plan what they were going to do, you know. So it made that pretty clear to me.
My teacher found out that I was having problems or whatever, and she thought that one way that I can deal with the problems that I was having is to come here and, you know, talk to people and to get away for a while. So.
Can you say what those problems are?
I was kicked out of my mom's house, then kicked out of my brother's house. So that built up a lot of anger, and I became quiet, real quiet, and not talking. Because before, I was a very active person, but now I'm very quiet, and I settle and stay to myself.
Here's the first situation. You're very fond of your dog. And I'm speaking to A now. A will be the person. You're very fond of your dog. Okay? But he has the habit of going across the street and onto your neighbor's garden and messing it up. B will be the neighbor. The neighbor decides to teach the dog a lesson and beats him up with a stick. You see this, you rush over. You have to try to stop the beating non-violently.
But the dog shouldn't have ran in my garden.
I understand
you see all the stuff messed up in my garden? I
understand
planned these things yesterday.
I understand it, and I'm sorry for that, but you could have came and got me. You don't just take matters into your own hand.
Well, that's teaching him a lesson not
No.
my garden.
No. Well,
Yes.
if it's that bad, you could have called the cops or something. Why you make me laugh, man? You gotta keep on going.
I ain't had no other choice but to beat him because he shouldn't have ran through
The
my
choice you had
garden.
was to come across the street and tell me.
I called your house and nobody answered your phone, so I just beat him with
Well,
the
maybe
stick.
I was in the shower. You could have came and knocked on my door, or just shoot at my dog. You don't beat no dog. No dog across the street. Yeah.
You have to take care of it, though. It's not my dog. It's your responsibility.
So what do you want me? What do you want me to do?
You get rid of it. Get rid of the dog.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I cannot get rid of my dog.
Get rid of the dog. Then you make sure it gets off my property.
Well, I will make sure it gets off your property.
Did you see them possibly coming to a resolution?
No, not a good one, I don't think. They just said, well, I'll keep the dog out of your garden. And that's where it ended. So that wasn't really a resolution.
What do you think prevented them from coming to that?
Well, they weren't really talking. They were more like yelling at each other. I think that if they actually talked, they'd come to a resolution.
I learned many more ways to settle a tense situation because I have been in many, or I should say several. But I know now that if I hear a cry for help, I can't just ignore it. I can't just turn my head. Above all, what I think is very important was I learned exactly what I think my definition of violence is, which is very important to me, because now I think I know I have a pretty good idea how to prevent those things.
What I like most about it is adolescents and adults working together with obvious respect for each other, you know. So that feels good.
The students, the adolescents, have treated the same as the adults, and the adults treat the adolescents the same, and there's a mutual respect. And I think that's one of the dynamics that happens when you do activities in a circle. One of the things I find that doing activities in a circle kind of equalizes us all. We all become part of that circle, and we all have an equal partnership and a shared responsibility.
And I pass it on to sweet Stephanie.
I changed my name.
Oh, to Smiley Stephanie.
One thing I like about this group is even though everything's on a serious basis, we do have fun, and everybody can communicate with each other, and I learned a lot about different people in this group, so I think that's nice. It's good. 3, 4.